Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to interview you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm really excited for some of our audience to get to know your work and all the amazing things you've been working on. So, we first got to know you as a playwright, but you're also a screenwriter, a composer, a poet, a singer, and a producer, right? So many different things. So, can you tell me a little bit more about how you became involved in the arts and how you became interested in so many different roles within the fields of both theater and film?
Yeah, it just kind of, I've always been in love with the arts since I was a child. I've never wanted to do anything else. It's never been a moment that I've been like, oh, I'm going to go to law school or do anything, that's probably a good life move. I've always just wanted to be, you know, in the business of entertaining people and in the business of storytelling. But I'm also extremely indecisive. And so I can never say, okay, this is the one thing I'm going to do. Because every time I see someone doing something else or find out about another job that might interest me, I'm like, well, I want to know how to do that too. And yeah, I just, I fall in love every time I get on a new project, no matter what the role is. And I think that film and theater are really special because even if they're independent productions, it can't be done by one individual. It takes a team. And so if I can be a part of that team in any way, big or small, then that's great.
Nice, nice. Do you have something that you like doing the most among
Um,
this, among all these things in the list?
I think that writing is kind of the thing that I can fall back on the most. The rest of it is just kind of things I enjoy doing, but things I'm not looking to make much money off of doing. I think that writing is kind of, you know, the thing that will get me out.
Wonderful. So, you've been particularly productive during the pandemic, which
Wow, look at that alliteration.
which is super impressive. I'm gonna list a few things that I know you worked on. So, your play, The Inevitability of Sunshine, it had an online reading produced by the Quarantine Bake Off. And then your other play, We Are Young, was also published on their website. And then you wrote the film A Better Day for the Quarantine Film Festival. And then you wrote the play Hands from the Fire for the Earworm Audio Theater. And then you also wrote for the Here We Go 24-hour Zoom Festival. And you've been developing a play for Italia, which you're super, super excited about. So it's crazy. I am still processing the list of things that you've been doing during the pandemic. But can you tell us about how you've been managing to stay productive and if you've had any self-discoveries as an artist during these times?
Well, the easy answer is that I'm a workaholic, and it's just, it's in my nature. If I can't go to sleep knowing that there's something to be done, I'm very much, I watch documentaries about athletes, and they're like, I know that if I'm not practicing, someone else is, and if I'm lazy for a day and they're working on, their free throws or something all day, they might get better than me. And so it's kind of that same, I guess it's kind of like being an artistic athlete. I hate just being still. And maybe I need medication. I don't know, but I just cannot not create and not work. Um, but the more complicated answer is that these times have provided a lot of free time and a lot of kind of empty slots where things would usually be happening in the public. And so I've had a lot more time to just sit down and write and look for opportunities. And, a plus side of this time, if there is any, is that now we're all kind of on the same platform and we don't have to really go out and go to different places to see each other. And so I've been able to connect with people that, people like you guys who I would have never would have connected with and never would have met if it wasn't for a pandemic, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, and as for self-discovery, I I don't know if I've discovered anything about myself. If anything, I've discovered that there's definitely a certain type of story that I like telling, and definitely a certain way that I like telling them. Uh, so yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about this kind of story that you want to tell that you like?
I I think that I more than anything like telling stories about stories that I don't see often enough. I
Uh-huh.
like telling stories about people who are not constantly in the public eye, whether that be about race, whether that be about gender, sexuality, whether that focus on victims of hate crime or victims of assault. You know, these stories we see a lot on the news, and the tragedies, but we don't really get a human perspective, any human voice on it, that's not politicized but is personal. And so if I can kind of zoom in on, you know, the home life and the family life and the emotion, and the mental state of these people, through dialogue and through characters, you know, I think that's the best thing I can do, and hopefully someone sees it, and connects to it and sees himself in it. Because I know that when I was growing up, the one thing I wanted more than anything was to see myself on the screen and see myself on the stage. So if I can kind of be, the vessel to help, you know, another young person see themselves, then my job is done.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, when the industry opens up again, which hopefully won't take that long,
2025.
maybe 25. Is there anything in particular that you want to work on?
You know, when the industry opens back up, whatever that will look like when that happens, I plan on doing exactly what I'm doing now, but physically, hopefully, if it's safe. Um, and I plan on just kind of hitting the ground running and then just continuing to try and put work up any place that'll take it.
Amazing. Yeah, really, really hope that you can get those plays because, yeah, you've had so many online readings. I hope that you get some in-person theater for all those plays as well. Um, so, how about inspiration? Where do you draw your inspiration from? Do you have like artists that yeah give you inspiration for your work, or teachers, or activities, or books? Anything that you would like to tell us?
Well, I think with diverse storytelling comes diverse inspiration. And so I find inspiration out of anything, just in day to day life. You know, if I see, you know, a pregnant lady buying salsa dip in the store, I want to know why she's buying salsa dip. I want to know what she's doing with it when she gets home. Is she eating it? Is it a gift for somebody? That's just kind of how my mind works. I want, you know, I see something that most people would kind of dismiss, and I'm like, I want to dissect that. Why are they doing this? Why? And that goes as simple as that, and as complicated as some of the things going on today. And so I get inspiration from everything. I fell in love with movies before anything else, and so I definitely get inspiration out of film, and just other artists, music. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to Beyonce just to try and think of an idea,
Mhm.
um, and all different forms of music. I feel like if I'm writing about a specific thing, listening to music that kind of goes with that specific mood helps me kind of develop a story. Talking to people, family is a big inspiration. I think a piece of everyone I know, whether they like it or not, is in the plays I write, because I really aim for that authentic voice. So yeah, I guess get inspiration out of any and everything that I encounter.
That's great. That's great. So I know that you've been working on a musical, is that right? And then can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the musical is called Liberty Bleeding, and I've been writing it for a little bit of time now, and I have a little bit of time to keep writing it. And it basically reflects these times, but was not written in these times. The show focuses on a community's response to a young man being unjustly killed. Um, and it was, it was not written for this moment. I did not. It's not a prediction to what would come, but rather a reflection on how we've been here before. I've been witnessing these kind of headlines since I was in middle school, which is, tragic. But what I find even more tragic is that, it goes back to that whole thing about the stories that get told. These stories, I don't think, get told enough. They do get told, but they don't always get told in the most positive light, and they don't always get told with the kind of humanity that I think comes along with it. Usually it's about choosing sides or something, and I think that really focusing in on, again, the human aspect of it is it's really important. So that's what the show is about, and so that will be done in about 10 years. And because I am not a musician really at all, but no one's going to tell your story except you. And so when you kind of hit that thing and it won't leave you alone, you're going to spend as long as you need to on it. So it's kind of in the back of everything else I'm working on, but it's still there. It's one of my kids. It's not my favorite kid, but it is I'm still feeding it. I'm still taking care of it.
No, I'm great. No, it's very ambitious and wonderful. I'm really, it's very touching how you're always committed to telling stories that are not being told, and you're brave enough to actually do it, you know? So is there another kid that you would like to elaborate on? I listed so many things that you've been working on. Is there anything else that you would like to get in more detail about?
Oh my God, I have so many kids. So, um,
You, if you want.
well, the the show that I wrote for the Here We Go is having actually a couple more readings.
Oh,
That's Yeah,
cool.
that's kind of been the one that's grown more than I expected. So I think next on the week of the 26th, it's a 6-day festival, and I'm actually having two shows in that festival. One of those being the one I wrote with for Here We Go. And then that same show is also being presented by a theater in London. They're having a fundraiser for an organization that's called Stand Against Racial Inequality, or I think that's what it is. Those are the acronyms either way. And so that's something that's happening at the top of August. And so I am looking forward to that.
We're
So yeah,
definitely
that's
gonna put the information wherever we share this video. We're gonna uh, let people know where they can find all of that. Super exciting.
Yeah. So that's with On Brand Productions, and then the theater in London is the Queen's Theater, which is, you know, it's insane. And yeah, just a lot of other stuff that I can't talk about right now without getting in trouble. So I will leave those announcements for a little bit later.
That is awesome. Wow. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I'm super impressed with how much you've accomplished. You are the living proof that it's still possible to do art, even though circumstances really suck. Um, so, really, thank you so much for sharing with us all of this all of these amazing things you've been working on. And I am really excited to check out those readings of your plays, and hopefully we will be able to collaborate in person together. Could be online too, but hopefully in person one day. So thank you so much, and yes, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.